Hello everyone and welcome back to English Ambition, and I am Kakoli. I am here to help you with your study of English so that you get very good marks in your class 12 board examination. And as you know by now, I have a different way of dealing with the chapters. I not only tell you the story but also go into deep and analyze each and every aspect which is very important for you children for your examinations. क्योंकि questions बिल्कुल ऐसे simple descriptive नहीं आएंगे, on the contrary analytical आएंगे. तो आपको जो chapters है उनके जो nuances हैं, intricacies हैं, details हैं, वो बहुत अच्छे से समझना पड़ेगा, तभी आप अच्छे से आंसर्स लिख पाएंगे and you will be able to get very good marks. Okay, so the chapter that I have today, On the Face of It by Susan Hill, is also a very interesting chapter, but as I told you just now, we have to have a different approach. मीन्स अगर देखा जाए तो स्टोरी लाइन में बहुत ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है. इट्स अ वेरी सिंपल स्टोरी. बहुत ज्यादा अप्स एंड डाउन्स, चेंज ऑफ प्लॉट और फैक्ट इसमें नहीं है, बट इट इज अ चैप्टर विच वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड विथ द एनालिटिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू. ओके, सो आई विल टेल यू द स्टोरी definitely, but along with it I will tell you each and every question that is probable, short question, and definitely at the end I will tell you the probable long questions. So don't miss any part of the video because each and every part would be important. Okay, so those of you who haven't subscribed my channel, please do so and share it with all your friends, because believe me, all the chapters the way I'm teaching would be immensely helpful for you to get very good marks in your examination. So let's begin today's story. It is from Vistas. As you can see, I'm carrying Vistas with me. All of you carry, because I will make you underline certain points or certain areas from where short questions are very, very probable. So please take your book and a pencil with you. I myself have marked some lines so that I don't miss anything. So keep them ready so that your learning is fruitful and actually enriching for you. Okay, now the chapter that we have On the Face of It by Susan Hill, what is the meaning of it, or what are the messages that the author wants to portray or convey? Let's see. पहले title देखते हैं. What is the meaning of the title On the Face of It? It's very important. Okay, so this chapter we can get a question as the title. बाद में इसको हम डिटेल में समझा देंगे, but let us now only understand the meaning of the term on the face of it. On the face of it is an idiomatic expression which means that to judge something, to label something on its outward appearance. Okay, in our society we have this tendency to label somebody or to judge someone, but just by his or her outward appearance. Okay, which is definitely not correct. Okay, so this is the meaning of On the Face of It. इसके बारे में हम बाद में और बात करेंगे when I will link it to the characters or the story on the face of it. Okay. Now, what is the theme of the chapter On the Face of It? Number one, the author tries to say or give a message to the people who have some kind of disability or handicap or any kind of infirmity in their life. She wants to say that they should be brave and confident and face the world. Generally ये देखा जाता है, हम में से किसी में भी अगर कोई कमी है, हम इस चीज को छुपाते हैं, है ना. हम हेजिटेट करते हैं उस चीज को लेके सोसाइटी में जाने के लिए. Like if some of us cannot hear or cannot speak properly or have some other problem, there is a scar on our face, we feel a little hesitant to face the world. Now the author says कि ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए. How long will you hide? So face the people, be brave and be confident. Maybe आप में एक कमी है, but there are hundreds of things that God has bestowed upon you, given him. So you are rich with many other qualities. Why are you thinking of the thing that you don't have? So be confident, brave, positive, courageous, and face the world. This is one message for those people who have some disability in their life. Number two is the message for the others, the world, the society who doesn't have any kind of such problem. The author tries to say, why can't we be a little more tolerant, little more wise and sensible and sensitive to those people who have some kind of disability? Why are we so strange? Why are we so rude and unkind and unwise dealing with those people? So be more sensible, be more sensitive, be more wise to deal with the people who have some kind of disability in their lives. Okay? So this is the moral or the theme that the author tries to convey through this chapter. Now in this chapter there are primarily two major characters. It's very difficult to tell कि protagonist है कौन, because both of them are so important and contribute equally to the story. Okay, so there are basically two people. One is an old man called Mr. Lamb. Okay, another 14-year-old boy called Derry. Now, one day what happens, before that, let me tell you that Derry was a boy whose one side of the face was acid burnt. Okay, he had an acid burnt face, but not the full, only one side of his face was acid burnt. He's a 14-year-old boy, as I already told you. Mr. Lamb was an old man, age is not mentioned in the chapter, maybe 50, 55, 60 maximum, who has a tin leg. Why tin leg? His leg was blown off in the war. He was in the army. His leg was blown off. So he had a tin leg or a prosthetic leg. Okay, now what happens? One day, Derry comes to the garden of Mr. Lamb. And he did not know it belonged to Mr. Lamb. He saw a beautiful garden. He just entered the garden. ना वो नया shift हुआ था उस जगह में, that place where Derry was staying in the present, he was shifted for last 3-4 months. So he was not very well acquainted with each and every place and each and every garden. He was passing by, maybe he saw a beautiful garden. He crossed the wall. He didn't enter through the gate. He crossed the wall and he entered the garden. Now, as he entered, actually it was a garden or an orchard, I should say. बड़े-बड़े पेड़ थे, है ना, and long grasses were there. So, suddenly as he was walking, he did not see Mr. Lamb because he was sitting behind tall grasses. Mr. Lamb introduced himself that I am Mr. Lamb and don't fall, there can be apples on the ground, don't trip. And Derry is very hesitant. As the story begins, we find that Derry is very hesitant the moment he saw Mr. Lamb. This can be, a question that why was Derry hesitant? He constantly says, oh, I'm sorry, let me go, I want to go away from here. So the moment Derry meets Mr. Lamb, we understand that he's not very comfortable. Why? Mr. Lamb again and again tells him that don't be afraid of me, nothing to be afraid of me. He says, I am not afraid of people. People are afraid of me. So Derry has a feeling that people are afraid of him because of what? Because of his scar, because of his acid burnt face. तो यहाँ से हम लोगों को एक दो चीजें समझ में आती है about Derry. Number one, he hates to meet people. He doesn't want to face people. And he entered the garden thinking that it was empty, nobody was there. And the moment he saw Mr. Lamb, he was very uncomfortable, he was very hesitant, and he wanted to leave the garden immediately. Now, why was his behavior like this? Who is responsible for this kind of behavior? Who has turned Derry, a young boy of 14 who should be so cheerful, so vibrant, who has turned him to a withdrawn, defiant character? the society, the behavior of the people. When people used to see him, they were afraid to look at him. They reacted in a strange manner because of his acid burned face. And he was a small child of 14 years. It had a deep impact in his mind. His mind was badly bruised. He felt very, very upset. So उसने क्या किया? उसने बाहर निकलना ही बंद कर दिया. He stopped meeting people and he entered the garden thinking it was an empty garden. Then Derry further added that it's obvious that people should be afraid of me. मैं खुद अपने आप से डरता हूँ. Whenever I see myself in front of the mirror, I'm afraid to see myself. Now Mr. Lamb tried to motivate him. He tried to change his perspective. He said, no. Why are you afraid of yourself? The entire of your body is not burnt. Only one part, not entirely you. So he tried to motivate him that why do you only look at the scar? That is a small portion of your face. That is not you. You are much more than that burnt face. So focus on the other things. This is how constantly Mr. Lamb will try to motivate him. Okay, this is a very important question. We have to understand this, that how was Mr. Lamb different from others? How Mr. Lamb changed Derry completely, because others expressed their pity, their sympathy to Derry. My God, a boy with a burnt face, what will happen to him? Mr. Lamb said, what will happen to him? Nothing. He just has a burnt face. Otherwise, he is capable of everything. So he constantly will boost his courage. He will boost his morale. Okay, so he said that nothing. Why you only look at your scar? Look at the other parts of your body. Look at the other side of your face. Now, after this, Derry said that why don't you ask me what happened to me? Are you not curious to know how I had this burnt face? Mr. Lamb said that what happened? Did you get a burn? He said no, it was not a burn with fire. Acid had fallen on this side of the face and it was burnt. Now over here, page 58, children, here there is an important line. It ate me up. This can be a question. It ate me up. Okay, he says that acid ate my face up, it ate me up. Ate me up means it shattered my life, it destroyed my life, it shattered my confidence and completely ruined my life. Okay, so this can be a short question for you to understand. Next, Mr. Lamb says, Derry, look over there. What can you see over there? ऐसे उन्होंने point out करा कि देखो उधर तुमको क्या दिख रहा है. He looked ऐसे. फिर he says it's rubbish. He says, don't say rubbish. See again. What is it? Then again he looked. He said, they are just ऐसे ही कुछ grass या some weeds. He said, yes, but why are you calling it rubbish? That is my weed garden. Why do we call some green plants, flowering plants, why do we appreciate them? और उनको इतना प्यार से हम nurture करते हैं, पानी डालते हैं, और किसी plants को क्यों हम weed कहते हैं? Why? They are also green, they also photosynthesize, they are also the gift of God. So Mr. Lamb said that I love or like everything that is a creature of God, that is a creation of God. So don't call them weeds. I have made a different garden called the weed garden. This weed garden wala jo concept hai, this can again come as a short 2-marker question, children. Okay, why did Mr. Lamb make a weed garden? Or why did Mr. Lamb show Derry the weed garden? What was he trying to explain to him? He was trying to explain that everything is beautiful. It is just our mindset, it is our perspective, that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. देखने वाले के जो नजरिया है उसके ऊपर वो डिपेंड करता है कि वो सामने वाला चीज कैसा है, सुंदर है या नहीं है. मेरे लिए weed is also equally beautiful. So nobody, means he was trying to explain him that you are also beautiful because you are a creation of God. So gradually, धीरे धीरे, Mr. Lamb was trying to change his mindset. Okay, so as he was talking, then again he told Derry that I am called by some people, some small children, as a lamey lamb, because his name was Lamb, and he was lame, he couldn't walk properly. So he said, पता है तुमको, मुझे ना लोग lamey lamb बोल के चिढ़ाते हैं बच्चे, but I don't mind. So what? So you have to understand that Mr. Lamb was trying to be positive. Okay, he said it's okay. My name is Lamb and I'm really lame. So if they call me Lamey Lamb, I don't feel bad. It's okay. Let them call. So he was telling Derry that you have to accept what the people say and do, because if you don't accept, it will be painful for you. You accept it, everything will be fine. Then Mr. Lamb tries to tell him the story of Beauty and the Beast. I think most of you will know the story of Beauty and the Beast. In case किसी को नहीं पता तो मैं एक लाइन में just बता रही हूँ. Beauty and the Beast में क्या होता है? There is a beast. Okay, a monster. Okay, the word beast means a monster. There was a girl called Beauty. I'm not telling you the whole story. तो for some reason they come together and Beauty stays with Beast for some times, for जो भी reason था, I'm not going into detail. And finally Beauty falls in love with the Beast. When Beauty loves Beast, the Beast is changed into a handsome prince. Okay, so this is the story. Mr. Lamb tries to tell this or relate this to Derry's life. He says that, see, you know the story of Beauty and the Beast. Beauty loved Beast. Why she loved Beast? Beast looked so, obviously he was a hideous monster. He looked so ugly. Then why come Beauty loved Beast? Because of his qualities, isn't it? Because she understood that Beast was kind at heart and generous and whatever. So she fell in love for Beast, but Derry was not at all convinced with this example. So again I'm telling you children, ये भी एक short question 2 marker का हो सकता है कि what was Derry's reaction to the Beauty and the Beast story? You will have to say that Derry was not convinced. He said that nobody will love him because of his car. उसके दिमाग में वही चल रहा था. Okay, he said that nobody will love me. I know. And why did he say that? He said that, my own mother, when she kisses me goodnight at night, she kisses me on the other side of the cheek, of the face, on the other cheek, which is not burnt. Even my own mother doesn't kiss me on the burnt side. Do you know that? So, and that too she does क्योंकि वो मेरी mother है and she's forced to, she's compelled to kiss me. So nobody else will love me, nobody will kiss me, nobody will accept me in the society. So try to understand the pain of Derry. This is how he reacted to the story of Beauty and the Beast. Again, a small, interesting, important question can be framed on this. Okay. Now a conversation goes on. Acha, now again he continues. है थोड़े conversation है. So they talk, and then again Derry tells Mr. Lamb, one day I had heard a woman tell another woman in the bus stop about me. When she looked at me, she said that, look at that, that's a terrible thing. That's a face only a mother can love. Okay, a woman had seen Derry's face and commented this to her partner or friend or जो भी उनके साथ था. So Derry felt very bad. Obviously, he could not accept this and he was very, very hurt and depressed. Now Mr. Lamb tells him something very interesting. He said that, do you believe everything you hear? Don't believe. People say a lot of things. Okay, either you close your ears, you don't believe anything. Now Derry is a small boy. He doesn't understand exactly what he wants to say. He says, how can I close my ear? You say so peculiar things. हम आँख तो बंद कर सकते हैं, कान कैसे बंद करेंगे kind of. So what was trying to say? Mr. Lamb was trying to say that don't pay attention to everything that you hear. Okay, many people will say many things about you, isn't it? We have to be wise. We have to use our discretion टू अंडरस्टैंड कि कौन सा मेरे लिए सही है, किस पे मुझे अटेंशन देना चाहिए, गौर करना चाहिए, और किस चीज को मुझे ऐसे इग्नोर करना चाहिए. सो ही सेज दैट डोंट पे अटेंशन, डोंट बिलीव व्हाट पीपल से, डोंट listen to the beautiful things. Look at my come to my garden. See, listen to my bees. The bees, for you or for others, people say that bees buzz, but I feel that bees sing. Bees can sing beautifully. If you listen, bees sing. So listen to the beautiful things of nature. Why you have to listen every time what people say? So this is the way Mr. Lamb was trying to make him more confident of himself. तो ऐसे ऐसे छोटे छोटे बातें हो रही है. And then he again says, what my parents tell about me. They say one day I had heard them and they were saying that what will happen to Derry when we will be no more. This is on page 62 over here, and the last paragraph, that I heard my parents were telling that what will happen when with that kind of a face, how will he survive looking like that. Now Mr. Lamb is very irritated. On page 63, this is first paragraph. He says that, oh my God, boy, why can't you survive? You have everything that other children have. You have 2 eyes, 2 ears, you have a brain, you have 2 legs, you have 2 hands. You can do everything that others do. On the contrary, you can do better if you want to. Why can't you? You just have a scar. Baki to tum perfect ho. Then Derry also says ki they say that people have so much of handicap, and some people are born blind or deaf, or they spend the whole life in wheelchair. Mr. Lamb says, yeah, it is absolutely correct. You are completely normal. You just have to be confident and think the way you want, and watch at the beautiful things of nature. Listen to the beautiful things that are there in my garden, and you can do anything that you want to do. So we have to understand that this is the first time he heard something like this. Otherwise, Derry यही सुनता था, अरे बेचारा ये क्या करेगा, इसका फेस ऐसा है. तो he would always listen to like this, and he was thus filled with self-pity. Children, these 2-3 words you have to remember for Derry. क्या words hai? I'm telling, so please make a note of these words. He was withdrawn, withdrawn, introvert. He would not love to meet people and come in front of people. Number 2, he was defiant. Defiant matlab angry, rebellious, disobedient. Why? Because obviously he was angry because the way people behaved with him made him very, very, harsh or sad from within. So he was defiant. Number 3, he was filled with self-pity. Self-pity, very important word over here. Means everybody should pity him. तो वो खुद भी अपने आप को एकदम बेचारा समझने लगा था, है ना. वो भूल ही गया था कि he was also capable of doing everything. He himself also thought, oh, I'm such a sad and pitiful figure. Okay, so he was trying to cocoon himself. Cocoon क्या होता है? Caterpillar अपने आप को ऐसे ना cocoon बना लेता है एक ना, before becoming a butterfly. All of you have heard or learned in your science, I'm sure. Cocoon एक butterfly होने के just पहले the caterpillar forms a cocoon. So just like that, Derry had formed a cocoon in his life. वो बाहर निकलना नहीं चाहता था, किसी से मिलना नहीं चाहता था. So then he says the same thing, that I hate seeing people. Now Mr. Lamb says that there was a man. This is page 61 के नीचे यहाँ पे है. Mr. Lamb says that there was a man. He was afraid of death. उसको ऐसा लगता था कि wherever he went or wherever he would go, he would face something and he would die. Okay, a bus might run over him, a man might breathe deadly germs on him, lightning might fall on him and he might die. So he was afraid of everything. So what did he do? He locked himself up in a room, and what happened after that? He was lying on the bed and a picture fell on his head and he died. और Derry जोर जोर से हंसने लगा. So Mr. Lamb was trying to tell Derry that we have to face our fear. You cannot escape from this. There is no escape. This man was afraid of death, so he locked himself up in a room and he died in that room only. मतलब अगर you have to face death, तो तुमको तो कहीं से भी आ जाएगा. So you have to be brave enough and face the people around. So he was trying to constantly boost his morale and uplift his self-confidence. Now again what happens, Derry suddenly asks him that, do you have friends? He says, yeah, I have a lot of friends. Now again a short 2-marker question can be there, that what was Mr. Lamb's definition of friendship or friends? See, our definition of friends is what? Friends are those whom we meet every day, we see every day, or we talk to them every day. We share our opinions, we share our thoughts, our minds. They are our friends. All of you know what is a friend. But Mr. Lamb के लिए friend कौन था? वो सारे लोग उनके friend थे. He was telling, yeah, everybody is my friend. Today you have come to my garden. You are also my friend. Now Derry says, I have come today for the first time. हो सकता है आज के बाद मैं कभी आऊँ ही नहीं तुम्हारे गार्डन में, तो then also I'll be your friend. He said, yes, why not? So ये इसको लेके दोनों के बीच में थोड़ा सा हल्का सा एक quarrel active होता है, because Derry feels that Mr. Lamb is creating an illusion for himself about friends, which was true. We will see just now that Mr. Lamb actually didn't have any friend. He was a completely lonely man. That is the reason he kept that garden door always open. I will come to that. And he was a completely lonely person. So, but he was trying to say, just to make himself feel good, just to make it a feel good factor, that no, I have a lot of friends, a lot of people come to my garden and they meet and they go, and I think all of them are my friends. Okay, so ये एक बहुत important point है, that he was trying to feel happy by saying that he has a lot of friends, but actually he was also a lonely man. इसके ऊपर एक question भी आएगा. I will explain just now. Now, as they were talking, Derry says one more thing. He says that I hate facing people or meeting people. Now, Mr. Lamb, this is on page 64. Over here, we can underline this part also. Okay, Mr. Lamb tells him that this is that would do you more harm than any bottle of acid. Acid can only burn your face. Like a bomb only blew up my leg. There's worse things that can happen. You can burn yourself away completely inside. ये जो entire explanation है, ये भी question के लिए बहुत important है. What was Mr. Lamb trying to say over here? You know that one line can come and it can say that explain. I have to say that Mr. Lamb was saying that bomb or acid, they can only burn us physically. But if you are angry, if you are filled with hatred and bitterness, you are destroying your own life. क्योंकि जो physical ailment है या impairment है या pain है, वो तो चलो with time it will be okay, है ना? But if you are always angry, always negative, always bitter, always filled with hatred, so your life, your mind, you will be completely dead or wrecked from within. You will ruin your own life. So this is what Mr. Lamb was trying to explain to him. Okay, now Derry says that, you know, there was a woman in the hospital. She told, when I was coming home after this acid burn, that people like this should be kept with burnt people. Means she had the idea that burnt people should stay with burnt people instead of going back home. Blind people should stay with blind people. The people with no legs should stay with people with no legs. So ऐसा कुछ she must have told. Or Derry felt very bad. Now Mr. Lamb says, now that is a strange thing to say. How can we just group people based on their disability? Do we make friends that way? Is that a kind of a healthy society? Not at all. How can all blind be together, all deaf people be together, all lame people be together? Or ऐसा थोड़ी हो सकता है, ऐसा नहीं होता. So then Mr. Lamb says again something over here, which can again be a question, children. Page page 64, ऐसे यहाँ पे, I hope all of you can see and underline, it is said over here, everything is different, everything is the same, but everything is different. Explain. This can come as a question. To mark a very important question. What does it mean over here? It means that Mr. Lamb is saying that yes, एक साइड से everybody is same because everybody is deaf or everybody is blind or everybody has acid burn face, but everybody is different. ऐसे थोड़ी हम इस बेसिस पे सबको क्लब अप कर सकते हैं. They are unique, their likes, their dislikes, their mindset, their thought process is different, so you cannot make them club together based on their physical impairment. Okay, it is not possible. So you have to, like, this is something completely a very unhealthy thought process. So Mr. Lamb tries to say this because every person is unique in his own way. Now after this, what happens? Mr. Lamb says it's evening, gradually getting evening, so I will pluck some apples from the orchard, from the trees, and make some jelly. Mr. Lamb said this, and then Derry said that I can help you out. I will go home and take permission from my mother, and then I will come back and I will help you out. Now ये बोल के Derry decides to go home and get permission from his mother and come back and help Mr. Lamb. इनके बीच में थोड़े बहुत conversation होते हैं, but that is okay. So now as Derry goes, at the end of first scene, page 67 over here, just below that picture that is drawn, there is a portion in which Mr. Lamb is left alone in the play. This is the only portion where Mr. Lamb is alone because Derry has gone home. And from this small portion, we get something very interesting. What is it? We understand that actually Mr. Lamb was a lonely person. He says, there's my dear, everybody says that I will come back, but they never do. Never do they come back. Mr. Lamb is trying to say that Derry, you are saying that तुम अभी जा रहे हो, permission लेके वापस आओगे, but मुझे पता है तुम वापस नहीं आओगे because nobody comes back. So this portion is very important, children, for Mr. Lamb's character. Okay, so we understand that though Mr. Lamb was trying to be very optimistic, very positive, very courageous, but actually in the core of the heart, in the bottom of the heart, he was a lonely man. Okay, and a short glimpse of his character and insight into his character we get over here when Derry goes. Okay, now if we have to talk about the character of Mr. Lamb, this part has to be included. This is very, very important. Now let's come to scene 2. In scene 2, we find that Derry has gone back home and he's trying to get permission and convince his mother about going back to Mr. Lamb's house. But the mother is not at all willing to let Derry go back. She says, no, I have heard about Mr. Lamb and he is a very strange man. These 3-4 months जो हम यहाँ पे हैं, तुमको क्या पता है? मुझे नहीं पता कुछ. I know, I have heard about it. Now you will find in the second scene, Derry is a different person. This is again a very important question, children. Okay, how is Derry different? Okay, how or what change have you found in Derry at the end of the story? Here you find Derry is much more confident and he says the same thing that Mr. Lamb was telling him. When the mother says that, do you think that I have not heard anything about Mr. Lamb? He says over here, you should not believe what everybody says that Mr. Lamb had told him. So now he has started believing Mr. Lamb, and here he says very positively that no, I don't bother about my face again. He is very confident because up tak he was constantly talking about his face and its scar. But now for the first time we find he is saying, come to page 68 over here, he's saying it's got nothing to do with my face. I don't care about that and it isn't important. Okay, so it's this part is important because you find a completely different version of Derry, a different version of his speech, means his outlook has changed. He's a much more confident person. He says, it's what I think and I feel and what I want to see and what I find out and what I want to hear. So Mr. Lamb has finally made him a more confident person who is not bothered about his looks anymore. He has understood that it is everything what you do and what you feel and what you want to hear and what you want to see and what you want to do. Okay, so he's very confident, and he finally, though his mother was not willing to let him go, but he runs out of the house and he says, I'm going to Mr. Lamb's garden. I want to help him out. And if I don't go today, I will never be able to go any other day. I want the world. I want it and I want it. Very important this part is, that was the day when Derry wanted to break open, okay, from that cocoon in which he had closed himself up, and he wanted to step to the world outside and meet people, be a positive person full of confidence and courage. He wanted to face the people, he wanted to brave the world, and he said ki aaj nahi to kabhi nahi. Again I will be, restricted and confined into my world of isolation and self-pity. Okay, so he decided to run out of the house and he went to Mr. Lamb's garden. But the third scene is very tragic, very, I should say, unexpected. As he reached Mr. Lamb's garden, he will find out that Mr. Lamb has fallen from that ladder and Mr. Lamb is dead. And Derry sits and cries over there. Now I know all of you are thinking कि ma'am ये कैसा sad सा ending है, but see children, though the ending is definitely a little sad, but we have to find out the optimism and positivity even out of that sadness. And what is that that I will discuss just now as I discuss the questions with you. Okay, so with this we come to the end of the chapter. Plus don't leave the video now or leave the last part unseen, because now I will discuss very important questions, and believe me, this chapter is very important for your long answer value based questions, so I will explain those now. So let's begin with the ending only. A question can come, long question can come, that what is your opinion about the ending, comment on the ending and all that. So you can definitely say that yes, initially it is a little abrupt, a little pessimistic and sad or tragic with the death of Mr. Lamb. But the positive thing is that Derry is a completely transformed person. He is more confident, he was not bothered about his looks, and he was resonating, he is, echoing the philosophy of Mr. Lamb. Okay, he is speaking the way Mr. Lamb would speak. So he is a changed person. Number one. Next question is there from the book only. Question number one. What is it that draws Derry towards Mr. Lamb in spite of himself? Means why was Derry attracted towards Mr. Lamb? ये question अलग-अलग way में आ सकता है. What was Mr. Lamb's, or why was Mr. Lamb different from the others? What was the things that he said which other people never said to Derry? तो basically Mr. Lamb के बारे में थोड़ा सा हमको बताना है यहाँ पे. So you have to say that Mr. Lamb boosted his confidence. He made him understand that he was capable of achieving everything that he wanted if he wished to. And he changed his perspective towards life through that wheat garden, if you remember, and all the other examples that we discussed just now. He was trying to make him confidence, boost his morale, and make him a more confident or courageous boy. Okay, and changed his negativity to positivity. So that's why he was attracted, because he said things that other people never said. Question number two, very important. In which section of the play does Mr. Lamb display signs of loneliness and disappointment? अभी मैंने एक बताया कि end of scene 1, when Mr. Lamb was alone, we understand that he was a lonely man. Again, we have to say that Mr. Lamb said earlier that he never closed the gate of his garden. Why? Because he wanted people to come in, because he was lonely. He, yearned for companionship. He wanted people to come. He wanted children to come to the garden. So that proved he was a lonely man. Number 3, he did not have curtain in his windows. Okay, so he did not have curtain in his windows means what? He wanted to, get the full view of nature, the sun, the moon, the wind, the cloud, everything. He wanted to hear the sound of the rain, the sound of the wind. So these things are very important. Next, question number 3. Very important again. The actual pain or inconvenience caused by a physical impairment is often less than the sense of alienation felt, made by the society. Alienation मतलब isolation, किसी को अलग कर देना, अकेला कर देना. So the author tries to say a beautiful question, very important question, that physical pain of any disability or handicap is less than the, ये जो हम लोग ऐसे लोगों को अलग कर देते हैं, अकेला कर देते हैं, आइसोलेट कर देते हैं, ये जो पेन है ये बहुत ज़्यादा दिक्कत करता है. तो that is what is told over here. You have to say yes. Definitely, we saw how Derry had become. Why was Derry like this? Defiant and filled with self-pity and withdrawn because of the reaction of the people, because of the harsh and cruel treatment he got from the people. Mr. Lamb was also a lonely man, though he tried to be brave, but he was lonely. So people, the society should be more tolerant. जो शुरू में मैंने बताया था एकदम beginning में, they should be more sensitive, they should be more wise with the such people. Okay, now other than this, the last question is not that important from the book. Other than this, the question can be the title. फिर से मैं शुरू वाले उसमें जाऊंगी. I told you that the title means what? On the face of it. See, we judge people on the face of it. What did Derry's mother tell Derry? That I've heard of Mr. Lamb, that he's a very strange man. What was strange about him? And people must be passing rumors about Mr. Lamb कि अकेले रहते हैं, बहुत बड़ा गार्डन है, वो दरवाजा हमेशा खुला रहता है, कर्टेन नहीं है, वो बहुत अजीब है. So people love to pass such comments. People love to label people and just on the face of it. एक बार देख के, or outside appearance, without meeting, without talking, just, pass a remark. So we love to do that. So it hurts. But when we see Mr. Lamb, we understand, no, he's a very wise, very courageous, very sensible person. At the same time, when we see Derry from outside, it seems what? That he has a burnt face, he's very angry, he's very bitter. But as we talk to him, we realize that he is so sensible himself. Definitely he is sad, he's filled with self-pity. But then he was courageous enough, intelligent enough, sensible enough to have absorbed what Mr. Lamb said, and he changed completely at the end of the story. One last and very important question, children, that can also be there, that this chance encounter, this chance meeting, chance means accidental, not pre-planned. So the chance meeting of Derry with Mr. Lamb was a life-changing event for Derry. ओके, ये भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है. वही चीज हमको बताना है जो अभी आई एक्सप्लेन, दैट हाउ मिस्टर लैम्ब changed him and how he boosted his self-confidence and moral and improved him or transformed him to a better, confident version of himself. Okay, so I hope all of you have enjoyed the chapter. I know a little lengthy the video went, but I wanted to analyze the chapter in detail. So if you like it, please put that like button and put your comments also, and share the video. And I'm sure all of you have subscribed, and share it with all your friends, and happy learning.